So what do you get if you take a shiny version of one of the most popular Pokemon and make it really hard to pull? Well, you get Gold Star Pokémon Cards, and we're going to take a look at the top 6 most expensive ones today. That's right, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at Gold Star Pokémon Cards. Now, some of these are some of the most sought after cards out there. And honestly, I think they're some of the prettiest in some cases, especially some of the ones that are toward the top end of this list. I kind of understand their pricing. And we're taking a look today because obviously in Pokémon Celebrations coming up, we're going to get some revisits to some of these cards. And it'd be nice to have a little look at what's been there historically, right? So let's jump straight in. In at number 6, we kind of have 3. I do this a lot. It's going to take all 3 of the legendary dogs, right? So Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. Now, these actually would be more expensive, right? Around that time period, these Pokemon were extremely popular. And honestly, the arts are beautiful. But did you know you can actually, if you're careful, and at least according to historic data, you can pick up a set of all 3 in PSA 10 for like £1,000 each. So like 3k total. Now, that's actually because there's a story related to these. These cards were actually stolen from the factory. So instead of having to pull them from packs, you could kind of, friend of a friend sort of situations, could actually pick them up fairly cheap and in really good condition. So kind of included more as a novelty factor, as they're actually not crazy expensive for the set, but just look at them. They're beautiful cards. Number 5 is Mr. Mouse himself, Pikachu, who, honestly, in shiny form, barely tell the difference. But he's the mascot of the company, right? If you think Pokemon, you think Pikachu, or maybe Charizard, but that's a spoiler. And that's just why this card is so incredibly expensive still. You can pick up a copy in PSA 7. I couldn't find any copies available anywhere in higher condition, but I know they have been sold for around, say, 900. So you're looking at, a good chunk of money for the one card in PSA 7. Now, obviously, I mentioned the PSA grade here because we've seen that the condition of a card can massively influence, especially in collector card cases, the total price. So if a PSA 7 goes for 900, a PSA 8 probably goes for a couple of hundred more, so on and so forth. So we have to kind of standardize as much as possible for this list, which isn't easy, but I think we've pulled it off, kind of. But anyway, at least the next card is also in a PSA 7. In at number 4 is Charizard. Now, look at that art. Oh, it's shiny, so it's got that kind of cool, black, edgy look going on with it. But it's also just a Charizard, right? These are always some of the most sought-after cards in a set. So the fact that it's shiny helps a lot, and this is like around the time where shiny cards were really being a thing. So this is an incredible looking card, and, we all know that whoever has the Charizard is the cooler kid. That was how it was back in the day, which also meant that these are actually relatively low population because, people played with them. People wanted to show off their Charizard, which means that to get one in PSA 7 today would cost you around £2,100. So, it's a chunk of money to go and get one of these. And honestly, there are lots of other shiny Charizards out there now, and I think some of them even have better art. So is it necessarily worth it? I don't know. I'm not a huge collector, but maybe to some people it still is. Now, we actually leave the kind of classic Gold Star cards behind for a second now, because we're now looking at something that came from Pop 5. Now, the Pop packs were given out for Pokemon Organized Play, Pop, and you had to basically attend a league or something along those lines to be awarded the packs. So not only was it difficult for like the average person to go and get one, because you might not know about Organized Play, but, you know, they were low number, and also the set was like not necessarily widely opened. There's still a lot of sealed product out there. But the card we're talking about is Espeon Gold Star. Now, there is also an Umbreon from the set, but the Espeon itself goes for around 3,000 for a PSA 7. And just look at that. It might actually be one of my favorite Espeon arts. You know, the green, I've always loved the green Espeon. I always think it like really captures that kind of weird psychic behavior thing that they're going for with, you know, ESP. And it just looks fantastic. And it was actually a reprint of one from Japan that was a promo in Japan. Now, getting the promo in Japan, even more money, right? Like, if you have a copy of the Japanese version of this, it goes for considerably more than the English copy. But that doesn't make this cheap, and does make it the third most expensive card on this list. So, 1 and 2, I might have got wrong when you kind of adjust for PSA things, but we're going to talk about Rayquaza Gold Star next. What is it about shiny Rayquazas being on lists? Like, shiny Rayquazas are one of the coolest designs, right? That black-yellow contrasty look is just beautiful, but also it really is one of those Pokemon that everybody loved, right? And, you know, going up the tower to get it in the video games was always quite an achievement because the stupid bike thing. But just in the games as well, like just the TCG, they've nailed the art so often. And it will set you back £5,200 for a PSA 9 currently. Again, prices fluctuate, so it's kind of hard to, like, this is as of today. But this card is beautiful, but is not number 1 on the list. Number 1 is reserved for Umbreon Gold Star. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit of an Umbreon fan, right? So the fact that this is top of the list is kind of amazing. But just look at how beautiful that card is. And the great thing is we're getting a reprint. Sort of. More of that in a second. So this card will set you back around 4,500 for a PSA 8. Now, that is less than the number I quoted for the Rayquaza, but it's also 1 grade lower. So if you try and smooth it all out, you're probably talking more in total. Though I did see some Rayquaza listings that were silly. And this Umbreon is just the best looking card. So Umbreon in shiny form is by far and away my favorite shiny. I know it's just they swapped the yellow for the blue, but it just looks so clean. And this art of it just looks so clean. And it was a Pop 5 card again, so it was really hard to get your hands on. And it just looks incredible. And we're getting a reprint, which is fantastic, right? Because I'm not going to go out and spend 4,500 on a card for looking at. I wish I could. Cardmarket, my birthday's in October. But if you're looking at just getting something to look at, then at least we're getting a sort of reprint. I say sort of because obviously the Pokemon Celebrations reprint will have a copy of the logo, the Pokemon 25 logo in the corner, right? Which means it's not quite the same. And to be honest, I don't love the look of the logo. So maybe I am going to have to go spend 4,500 on a card. Every time. But that's it for today. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have thoughts on this list, like, would you spend that much on a card for collection, or are you going to hold out for reprints? Are you hoping to see prices change? Is there anything that you think I may have missed on this list? If there is, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe. Look at that fancy new animation. And I'll see you soon for the next video. Thank you.